Why is Piers Morgan censoring his guest on a show titled Uncensored with Piers Morgan? What does this say about Piers Morgan and his bias, and what limitations should be applied to free speech? We're going to jump into his episode last week with Steven Crowder and address some of those things. But first, if you haven't done so already, do me a favor and hit those like and follow buttons and on whatever platform you're watching this on. And also jump over to my X account as well as my Rumble, because that's where I post the majority of my stuff, because I don't have to censor it or edit it up or anything. I can just post it raw as it is. And so if you want to truly catch this shit unfucking filtered, then you got to go to the platforms that I can post it without any filters. Also, if you haven't done so yet already, go ahead and make sure you're checking me out on Friday nights with my good buddy Greg, who's the host of Generation Mars podcast, where we co-host a show called Talk About It Livestream, where we dive into all sorts of fun topics, not just politics. And the best thing is, you can call into the show right through the X space. It's amazing. We get into a lot of fun conversations and debates and talking about spaceships and aliens. It's so much fun. So much fun. So that's 8 p.m. Friday nights. Make sure you check it out. But okay. For anyone who doesn't know what's going on, some controversy broke out last week regarding Steven Crowder and Piers Morgan. Okay? And what happened is Steven Crowder was on Piers Morgan after an incident had happened on a previous episode of Piers Morgan. And to save time, I'm just going to go ahead and let Piers tell you about it himself.
When I challenged self-professed racist podcaster Lily Gaddis to show her true white supremacist colours during an uncensored debate a few weeks ago, it's fair to say it all kicked off.
I want to live in a country where people are allowed to say what they want unashamedly, and you will
well, go
not
on, then
have
say it. Say
you
the
will
M-
not have
Go on,
free
say
speech.
go on. Say the M word. Go on.
No.
Don't invite.
No.
No.
I don't want you to invite this woman to say a racially harmful term in front of me, because I'm the only on here. So if she says it, I'm the victim of it.
Well, the fallout from that segment went viral, provoking debate from the big names online, including one Steven Crowder, who called me out for being completely disingenuous for my challenge to racist Gaddis.
Big difference. So that challenge is not genuine. I do think that people shouldn't lose their livelihood or be condemned to racist for the rest of their life because they use a word in a context where there is no hate. That is not represented in the challenge of say it right now just because you want to say it to black people. And then you have Mark Lamont Hill, who I've been on him with Reddy, he was always very nice to me. I mean, there's nothing more emasculating or self-emasculating than saying, someone will say a word and I will be the victim.
Well, I thought it was only fair and useful to have this out with Mr. Crowder, man to man. Of course he agreed, because he's a man.
So, okay, after that whole episode was aired, Steven Crowder ended up sharing a clip of the show. And he shared it on X with the caption saying, "Hey, Piers Morgan, I thought your show was called Uncensored. Care to explain why you felt the need to literally censor my words?" At which point in time, Piers Morgan responded by saying, "Yeah, sure. You said the N-word, and we don't allow that on our show. It's not about censorship, but about respect for black people." Now, let's go ahead and listen to the segment real quick, and we're going to listen to what he's talking about here.
When we're talking about this new song, and as a comedian and as a linguist, I'm going to say the word here so that everybody knows, and that's what you're going to clip. We're looking at words that are offensive, a song that is offensive, but one is a boogeyman word. We have one noun, a verb, and a noun. Okay, we have a noun by itself, contextually. That's bad. Shouldn't say it, but it's not imbued with any power outside of historical context. The last noun, Hitler, is imbued with the power of the verb that precedes it. Hail, to praise, to venerate. That'll get clipped, even though I'm condemning the song as anti-Semitic, and not one person here who would be the victim of a more severe call to action is going to say it's anti-Semitic. I think we're in a silly point in this country when we're pulling this clip to condemn the anti-Semitism here at the studio, and people going, hey, can I get a second cut of that N-word, Hail Hitler? That's the point. It's not genuine. When we're talking.
So there's the clip. Now, you didn't hear the N-word at all. Why didn't you hear it? Well, because he censored it. Well, I mean, Steven Crowder, good. Thank God for him. He streams over on Rumble now because he got tired of being censored on YouTube. And so now he streams on Rumble, and he had the courtesy to go ahead and play that for us so that way he could hear it we could hear it in context. Because it being censored the way that Piers Morgan censored it, it sounds like Steven's being kind of offensive. So let's go ahead and hear it in context the way that it was actually played.
So here's the actual clip and what I actually said. We're looking at words that are offensive, a song that is offensive, but one is a boogeyman word. We have one noun, a verb, and a noun. Okay, we have a noun by itself, contextually. Yeah, that's bad. Shouldn't say it, but it's not imbued with any power outside of historical context. The last noun, Hitler, is imbued with the power of the verb that precedes it. Hail, to praise, to...
So, you see there, he didn't even use the hard R. Nothing like we just had go viral last week or something like that of this chick.
Go back to your country. Go back to your country. We don't welcome black people. Black people should go. Go back to Africa. You look so.
Now that is blatant racism right there. That is straight hard R. That's not the context in which Steven Crowder said it in. He went soft A all day long because he was quoting the lyrics of Kanye's latest song that's already controversial as well. Okay, with that said, Piers Morgan felt the need to censor that. And his justification for it is he's saying because you said the N-word and it's not about censorship, but it's about respect for black people. But yet, Piers Morgan apparently doesn't have respect for the rest of human society because he's more than willing to allow words like this to go uncensored.
I hate cancel culture. I think it's the epitome of woke bullshit.
I don't think that someone should scream the N-word at a child any more than I think a grown adult should call a child a piece of shit.
So right there, now, the title of his show is Uncensored. So therefore, you should be expecting to watch content on his channel and watch that show and receive uncensored content without any censorship, no matter how offensive it might be. But see, Piers Morgan seems to have a system of hierarchy here as to who he's allowed to offend with his lack of censorship or not. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be offended by anything because I run a show that's called Unfucking Filtered. All right. You expect to get some unfucking filtered content on this thing. You expect to hear some fucking vulgarities. Okay. And the same is with a show such as Uncensored. You should expect to hear some vulgarities. So therefore, when you're watching, you should hear Steven Crowder hit it with the soft A. It shouldn't be censored. But apparently, Piers Morgan has decided that black people are above the whole rest of human society. And he is more than willing to offend all of human society, but he's not willing to offend black people in any way. That's the message I'm receiving from that. But that's not the only thing that Piers censored Steven Crowder on. He also censored him in this segment in regards to a buzzer prop. Check it out.
And here's what you saw, and you wouldn't know this unless I told you. Hold on a second. You say that every single person who is giving to that is the equivalent of the person yelling the N-word at a 5-year-old.
I didn't say that.
We say the same thing?
No, I didn't say that.
Hold on.
No, I didn't say that.
That's the interruption buzzer. Hold on.
So you see him holding this thing up to the mic, and he says, that's the interruption buzzer, but you don't hear anything.
I'll be done in 20 seconds. 20 seconds. Would we also say then that the people giving to Anthony, Carmelo Anthony, support the wanton stabbing of white kids who die in their twin brother's arms? Now, that would seem silly to go, hey, what's happening there? Here's the actual clip, and this isn't the first time that this has happened on Piers Morgan. Hold on a second. You say that every single person who is giving to that is the equivalent of the person yelling the N-word at a 5-year-old. Would we say the same thing? Okay, would we say, hold on. That's the interruption buzzer. Hold on, let me finish my point. I'll be done in 20 seconds. 20 seconds.
That last little one.
It's a little childish and stupid. Then again, so is editing out a boogeyman word when used in context.
Exactly. So is editing out a boogeyman word when used in context. But he's censoring out a freaking buzzer. Why? Because the buzzer makes Piers Morgan look like a clown. So Piers Morgan puts on this whole persona and this whole facade that he's fair and balanced and uncensored, as his show says, but he's constantly censoring all over the place. And this isn't the only episode he's ever done this to Steven Crowder on. He did this on a previous episode with a bell. Check this shit out.
Was that deliberate? Is he trying to sabotage her?
Thank you.
Pay attention to Steven Crowder's left hand.
Again, I'm really going to avoid Ed Helmet, which is really tough because it seems to be coming from the other side of this panel here.
Well, I will note for the record that you have not gone ad hominem. And Tim, to be fair, all you've done is abuse Steve. All you've done is abuse Steve on a personal level. I actually would like to rise above that.
His whole career is all he's done is attack gay and trans people. Now he's like, now he's getting
And here's the actual clip that didn't make her.
Is he trying to sabotage her?
Thank you. But again, I'm really going to avoid Ed Helmet, which is really tough because it seems to be coming from the other side of this panel here. It was certainly ill-advised.
I will note for the record that you have not gone ad hominem. And Tim, to be fair, all you've done is abuse Steve. All you've done is abuse Stephen on a personal level. I actually would like to rise above that.
His whole career is all he's done is attack gay and trans people. Now he's getting.
And there it is, continuously censoring. And it begs the question, how many other conservatives is Piers Morgan censoring? And frankly, all this unnecessary censorship is extremely unfair, because effectively what it does is it makes people appear to be offensive assholes when they're actually not. We just heard Steven Crowder shit in context, and none of that shit is offensive. But yet when you watch it with the censorship, it's like, what the fuck? You know, one, Steven Crowder looks like a jackass holding something up to a mic and it don't do nothing. He just looks like he's jerking off the mic or something. Or he looks like he's banging on his table. And that's what Piers Morgan is painting a picture of Steven Crowder to be. And that's completely unfair. So Steven Crowder did us a little favor, and he ended up giving Piers Morgan a taste of his own medicine by applying some unnecessary censorship to him as well. Check it out.
All right, Steven Crowder, you're giving it to me. I think I'm the and the whole saga here. I'm just the sitting here listening to a very, very unpleasant young being deliberately, unashamedly wants us to think she's admits to being. And when you talk about context of using the N-word, she is using it in.
Sound like a pretty offensive asshole there, Pierce. You definitely do whenever censorship is applied unnecessarily. That's right. So thank you, Stephen, for giving us that clip there. But there were some other things that I wanted to get into in this whole episode. And naturally, this whole thing started with the whole Carmelo Anthony, Shiloh Hendricks debate that originally kicked the whole thing off. So naturally, the whole conversation would take a turn back towards that. And in that discussion about the whole matter, some falsehoods were said that no one took the time to correct. And so I wanted to take the time and correct them now, as well as I wanted to answer a question that was posed towards the end. So let's go ahead and start with the falsehoods first. Here's the clip.
The people who are funding Carmelo Anthony, you can tell this from the comments, this isn't my guess, they're not saying good job. They're saying we don't believe that you're guilty. We don't believe that you've gotten a fair legal process. And so we're sending money to make sure that you get a proper legal defense because we don't believe that you are guilty of this crime.
So he's claiming that the people donating to Carmelo Anthony are donating because they don't believe that Carmelo Anthony is guilty. He's saying none of these people donating to Carmelo Anthony are doing it out of hatred for white people or doing it out of racial hatred at all. None of the people donating to Carmelo Anthony are racist in any way, shape, or form. They are 100% wholesome that are just trying to defend an innocent black kid because they believe he is innocent of the crime that he admitted to fucking doing. That's what he's claiming. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at that here, sir. Take a look at some of the comments on these donations. Well, first we got this one here, Kill Whites, with 139 likes, $5 donation. Let's see what else we have in this here. We've got Death to All Mayo Mutants, 65 likes, $10. Finna Pokey All the Whites. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but it doesn't sound very nice or non-racial. 67 likes. Let's see what else we got. We got Death to the White Man, $5, 32 likes. Come on, crackers. Y'all too broke to write more racist bullshit? The more y'all bitch, the richer our brother gets. I honestly laugh at your misery. You deserve it. You lynched my people, enslaved my people, murdered my people, and now mad our brother is about to walk free after sending a white supremacist to hell where he belongs? We not our ancestors. Back around, die out, botch. Hey, listen, I can't help the way the guy spells, but okay. Anyways, corrections on some of these the statements in this comment. Okay, lynching is not exclusively for black people. Lynching was the preferred method of execution for centuries across the entire human civilization, regardless of race. Okay, so y'all pretending that it's exclusively for black people and slaves, bullshit. Get the fuck over it. Y'all don't own that shit. All right. Secondly, you do know that the very first slave owner in America was a black man, correct? Okay. Third, less than 4% of the white population in America owned slaves, meaning that over 96% of the white population during slavery in America owned slaves. Over 96% did not own slaves. That's right. That's right. Okay. Also, America has the shortest history of slavery in existence than any other fucking nation on the planet. And some nations still have slavery, especially in Africa. Also, white people put an end to slavery. That's right. That's right. So those are all some corrections that you might want to fucking read up on some history on. Then the shit you're saying at the end, back around and die out? Really? Really? You gonna go that? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Sit here and tell me that this shit ain't fucking racially driven. Let's keep going. Let's see some of the others. We got this one here. Black Excellence says, nothing, just donated again. The more these hateful whites show their insecurities and fragilities of losing dominance, sending love, light, and justice to King Carmelo, speaking full exoneration over your name. Exoneration from what? The fucking kid admitted to willingly killing Austin Metcalf. He admitted to it. He's only now putting up this faux self-defense claim. Total bullshit. Austin Metcalf simply told Carmelo Anthony he was in the wrong tent because he didn't go to that school that tent was for. And he told him he needed to go to his own school's tent. And you gonna claim that that's self-defense because he was told he had to go to his own tent? Fuck you. Get the fuck out of here. What else we have? We got this one here, $5 donation, 15 likes. Thank you for stopping the white supremacist bullies. See, they've labeled Austin Metcalf as a white supremacist because that's the only way they can try to justify this senseless murder. That's what they're fucking doing. Here's another one we got here. Let the racist tears flow. Defending Carmelo is the way to go. He is forever innocent in my eyes, just like killer Daniel Penny was in the eyes of white America. And there it is, right there. This is the whole reason that so many people were donating to this Carmelo Anthony campaign, okay? It's about their hatred of Daniel Penny, okay? Daniel Penny being that Marine, that former Marine who is a fucking hero in New York because he subdued a crackhead that got on the subway and was threatening to kill everybody on the train. A train that was predominantly inhabited by black people. Daniel Penny subdued him so that way he wouldn't hurt any of the passengers, any of the primarily black passengers. That's right. He was saving black lives. Yeah. He subdued this crackhead, at which point in time, after the guy passed out, he put him in the recovery position as he was trained to do in the Marines. Okay. The guy should have had a full recovery. However, the guy was too fucking cracked out. And so he fucking died because his body wasn't functioning properly because he was on fucking drugs. Yeah. A fucking hero. And he was exonerated in court. Well, the media told all these people that Daniel Penny was a racist white supremacist who killed a black man just because he was a black man. That's what they told all these people. And all these people bought that bullshit narrative. So then whenever he was found not guilty and cleared of all charges and set free, oh, they couldn't stand it because in their minds, they were told he was a racist white supremacist. So now they want justice and they want to reward a black kid for killing a white kid because they feel that it's justified based off of the lie that they believed. So you could blame a lot of this all on the mainstream media. Well, let's see what else we have here. We got another one here. I'm donating again after seeing the need for additional protection expenses. I'm so glad to see him get released on bond. These crackers need to understand that we are not our ancestors and they will reap what they sow. I hope the knife made a full recovery. The knife. The knife. Yeah, because that sounds so nice and friendly, okay, and non-racist. But then here's the big surprise one. Here's the big surprise, okay? We got this comment here that says, everybody around me is surprised that I support this fund because I am black. I am a black conservative. But look at what word came first. Black. I am black first. So don't sit here and tell me, asshole, that there ain't no fucking racism over on Carmelo Anthony's fucking page. Okay? That's bullshit. Now, I ain't gonna sit here and pretend like there ain't no racism happening over on Shiloh Hendrick's page. Yeah, you got racism happening on both. But see, like I said, Unlike you, I ain't going to pretend like it ain't happening. That shit's fucking happening. It's driven primarily by the mainstream media because the mainstream media has really fanned the flames on this shit. It all started with the BLM bullshit and the racial division driven by Barack Obama. But now things have got worse. Okay, here we are. Let's go ahead and take a look at where those campaigns are today, by the way. Okay, so we're looking at Carmelo Anthony. He's currently sitting at $533,492. Okay, he recently received a $20 donation about 2 hours ago and another $20 donation about 5 hours before that. So donations are still coming in for him. Now, they turned off the comments on these campaigns. And the reason they turned off the comments wasn't because of Shiloh Hendricks. It was because of all of the racism that Carmelo Anthony's supporters were posting. So they turned off the comments. That's what they did. Okay, let's take a look at Shiloh Hendricks' campaign. Shiloh Hendricks is currently sitting at $788,435. Pretty significant difference. Basically, people are sending a message that we're done. We're done with all of the cancel culture bullshit. We're done with the outrage mobs trying to destroy people's lives indefinitely for the rest of their lives simply for a few seconds of poor behavior. Yeah. Now, she's still receiving some donations. She got $25 14 minutes ago and another $25 49 minutes ago. Okay, great. So we got some donations coming in. These campaigns are still very much alive, which is surprising considering that the media isn't really talking or covering them anymore. But this is where things get really interesting. And I wanted to do this in real time for everybody. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take us to this site because when I went to Give, Said, Go to pull up their campaigns so that way we could see their current campaigns, I did what anybody would typically do. Go to Give, Said, Go over to the search bar, and I went ahead and typed in Carmelo Anthony, at which point in time you would expect that his campaign would be the first one to show up. And sure enough, it is. Take a look at that. $533,000 for a $600,000 goal. Top search result. And then you got all these grifters down here below. We got a lot of people that are just pretending to want to raise additional funds for Carmelo Anthony. And it's frankly ridiculous that they're doing that. But now, okay, let's go ahead and do another search. Let's take a look for Shiloh Hendricks. Let's find her. Okay, here we go. We're searching. She should be number one like Carmelo Anthony, right? That's not Shiloh Hendricks. Okay, what about this one? That's not Shiloh Hendricks either. Where is, hell, that's a legal fund to sue Shiloh Hendricks. Okay. This is to fight Shiloh Hendricks. This is anti-Shiloh Hendricks. This is Shiloh Hendricks is a Nazi. These are nothing but negative campaigns against her. Why isn't she at the fucking top as she should be, just like Carmelo Anthony? Well, I got newsflash for you. She doesn't show up in this search on any of the pages. Not a single fucking one of them. Don't believe me? Go check it out for yourself, okay? I'm not going to go through all the pages right here for time. However, in order to find Shiloh Hendricks' campaign, I actually had to do a DuckDuckGo search in order to find her campaign because it does not show up in the search on the Give, Said, Go site. Why? I don't know why they're suppressing it, but they are. Talk about fucking bullshit. But okay. One more thing I wanted to address from the video. And I'm going to go ahead and pull that up here. And we're going to listen to this question being posed, and then I'm going to answer.
Even if he is right that people were donating out of some political reaction to our hypersensitivity as a society, that's the wrong person to do it to. Do it to the person that's getting doxxed because they made a mistake 10 years ago. Do it to the person who rapped the N-word, on Gold Digger and suddenly has lost their ability to go to college. There's all kinds of people who we might say, even if we don't agree fully on the context, who we could say, hey, is a better example of the cause. But
we tried that. The problem is that those lesser situations, they're too middle of the road. And being that they're middle of the road, nobody really holds a strong opinion one way or the other. And therefore, they don't speak out and participate and rally behind. It just goes in passing. It's only extremely controversial issues that people jump in to either support or oppose. Not middle of the road situations. And those are too middle of the road. They have to be extreme in order for people to get involved. So, yeah, we tried. They failed. We've got to go more extreme in order to succeed. But let's continue. What else are you saying?
As you said, Piers, this is somebody who was using the word in the exact context that we're afraid of, or not afraid of, in the exact context that we're frustrated about, in the exact context that we think it's being used in. And so to dump money, almost $800,000 into her coffers, it ultimately rewards her for using that language. Imagine if an arsonist were to set a building on fire, and all three of us agreed that that arson should not get the death penalty. I think we probably all agree on that. But if we were to then take $1 million and dump it in their GoFundMe to fund the arsonist's legal defense, and now they get off, is that the right way to do it?
Now, you heard that, right? He's trying to use an analogy of, say there's an arsonist. We all agree that committing arson is bad, but we also agree that that person shouldn't get the death penalty for committing arson. But shouldn't we also all agree that that person shouldn't receive a shitload of money because that's like rewarding them for committing arson? So he's using this analogy and attempting to apply it to Shiloh Anthony. But he misses the point. Arson is a crime. Saying a naughty word isn't. But you know where he hits the nail on the head? Carmelo Anthony fucking murdering a kid. And being rewarded for it. Getting over $500,000 for killing a kid. You're right. We shouldn't reward someone for committing a crime. So why are y'all rewarding Carmelo Anthony for committing a crime? Shiloh Anthony or Shiloh Hendricks, she's not getting rewarded for committing a crime because she didn't commit a crime. You'll need to get that through your head. But okay, let's continue.
When Shiloh Hendricks said that she said the N-word, whatever, this was her right to free speech. Yeah. But everybody else has a right to hold you accountable for it.
No, you're absolutely wrong. Absolutely wrong there, Piers. We don't have the right to hold her accountable for it. People in her community might have the right, but not the whole fucking world. She has to have the ability to have somewhere to move to should her community not allow her to move past it. She has to have somewhere that she can go and get a fresh start. But she can't get that fresh start if everyone knows about it. If everyone knows about it, then she's left with nowhere to go and nothing but hopelessness and despair. And we all know where that leads to, don't we, Piers? We know exactly where that leads. Maybe that's what you want, though. Is that what you want? If yes, then sure, absolutely. We all have the right to hold her accountable. But if that's not what you want, then it's none of our fucking business. It's a part of the community, and that's it. We should all be just leaving her to hell alone. We shouldn't even know about it. That shit shouldn't have been posted on the internet. The person that did post it on the internet, they're the one that deserves to have 10 to 20 years in prison for intentionally trying to destroy a person's life and may have succeeded in doing so merely for saying a bad word. But back to this whole being the right person to rally behind thing. Like I said, we tried to defend those lesser situations of people like singing along with rap songs, but it didn't work. It didn't work. Okay, so that's why we had to get a little bit more extreme. And that's why you've got such an issue with it, honestly. Your biggest issue is with us going to the extreme, we now have people focused on this. And you don't want us having people focused on this. You want to keep us right where you've had us for so long. That's where you want to keep us. But we're not going there anymore. Instead, we're pushing back on this so that way we can actually get ahead on this, okay? Furthermore, when we limit speech in any context, that sets a precedent which allows for further censorship of speech. For example, we started with not allowing people, white people that is, to say the word in the manner that Shiloh Hendricks did. And starting in there at that point, it has since escalated to not allowing white people to sing along with their favorite rap songs anymore, like we're seeing. And we're even required to say phrases like the N-word instead of just saying the fucking word. And if we do say the word, then activists will attempt to destroy our lives, not just nationwide, but globally. Because to them, there is no greater sin than to not comply with their regulation of our speech by saying a word that they have deemed naughty. Now, to be clear, I myself am not afraid to say the word. I don't generally have a reason to say the word. so I don't typically say the word. But I'm not afraid to say it. I've been reading it in non-offensive forms ever since I was a little boy reading Huckleberry Finn. I used to sing the word, and still do sing the word for that matter, whenever I'm listening to NWA or any of my other favorite rap songs from the 90s, back whenever rap was good. But so no, I'm not allowed to, I'm not afraid to say the word, okay? But I'm not allowed to say it and post it on platforms like YouTube or TikTok without being punished and permanently banned for saying it. And merely because of the color of my skin. It's pretty fucked up. If I was black, I could say the word every 10 seconds if I wanted to, and my videos wouldn't be taken down at all. However, being white, if I say even a word that sounds like the word, they will remove my video and force me to appeal the removal simply because of my skin color. It's pretty fucked up. That's the way it is. Which, that's the whole reason why if you're watching this on YouTube or TikTok, you're hearing those words bleeped out in that sense. But if you jump on over to my X or Rumble page, you won't be hearing them bleeped out. They will be definitely uncensored. But anyways, yes, Shyla Hendricks is the right person for us to rally behind. And it's not because we're sending a message that we just want to run around being racist. No, that's not the message we're sending at all. The message that we're sending is that we're not allowing outrage mobs to thoroughly destroy a person's life anymore. We're not doing it. Not for a few seconds of poor behavior. That's done. The other message that we're sending is that we're no longer going to let you control our lives and force us to live in fear of you changing the rules whenever the fuck you want to without us getting the notice. No. We're not playing that shit anymore. We're sending the message that cancel culture and the era of quote unquote white guilt is over. That shit's done. From now on, anytime you try to cancel someone for doing something you don't like based on your religion of leftism, we're going to make them filthy rich. That's what we're fucking doing. We're going to strip you of your biggest weapon and turn it against you. So by all means, please, come after me. Come after me, okay? Try to take me down for speaking some truth to power. That's right. That's right. So you fuckers have been the ones that are in power, all right? We're speaking truth to you now. So go ahead and come after me if you want to. Go for it. I'm not scared. And none of us are anymore. We're just going to make each other filthy rich anytime you try to. That's what we're doing. But okay, if you haven't done so already, make sure that you do me a favor and hit those like and follow buttons for me. Also, make sure that you're, like I said, checking me out on Friday nights on Talk About It live stream with my good buddy Greg. And please do me a favor. Drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think of any of the stuff that I said here. I want to know if you agree with me, disagree with me, if you think I'm an asshole, if you think I should fucking die. Tell me. I want to hear it. I want to hear it. That way I can tell you you're wrong. You can tell me I'm wrong. We go back and forth. It makes for a lot of fun. Because, fuck, I get a kick out of it. And until next time.
Fucking filtered!